What's up, guys? This is Matapod from Smogon here to show you how to RNG abuse stationary Pokemon in Black 2 and White 2. So for this video and demonstration, we're going to be using PPRNG app on an iPad and a DS Lite, as well as a US version of White 2. So we're going to open up PPRNG and get started here. Now, what you're going to see when you first open it is it's going to ask you to build your profile, and you're going to need to calibrate your system. I'm not going to go into how to do that. There's a good video on YouTube made by the guy who made this application on how to do it. It's about 26 minutes long. It'll explain everything, so just check that out. Search for PPRNG app calibration and give it a watch. Now, one thing it doesn't go into that I will say is important is when you do the calibration test, you'll notice he explains a bit about timer 0. That's pretty random. You're actually going to want to do probably about 20 to 30 calibration tests and make note of what timer 0 values you're getting. You'll notice that you hit 2, 3, maybe 4 of them pretty often compared to a couple of outliers. So I recommend to do that, like I said, 20 or 30 times and pick 2 or 3, a range of 2 or 3 that you hit the most. So once you get that all done, you'll have your profiles menu, you'll have your profile that you just set up. So in this case, we're using this one. Now, encounters. You'll have stationary by default, and then for an in-app purchase, you can get wild Pokemon, Wonder Cards, Dream Radar. And I recommend to do it. I haven't done all of them just because I'm not at that point in the games yet, but it's great stuff. It's $1 a pop. The app itself is free. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. So we're gonna do a new search and fill out what you're going for. In this case, I did it like a cooking show where I previously did the search, and we're ready to rock, so we don't have to wait. So here's my completed search. We're gonna do a Hidden Power Rock Shiny spread. I'm actually going for a Hidden Power Rock Shiny Virizion. So at the top, I've got my info. This comes transferred over from my profile. I fill out what Pokemon I'm going for. The encounter type is going to be stationary. It'll say that by default, but that's what it is. You can change it if you need to. Encounter ability, again, defaulted here. And encounter shininess. This is important that you set it to maybe shiny, because when you're hunting it in the wild, the Pokemon may be shiny. Some Pokemon are always shiny, some Pokemon are never shiny, and it offers options for both of those, but it's important that you pick the right one, especially if you're actually going for a shiny Pokemon. So the encounter defaults there, and I actually hit yes for shiny only. You have the option of yes or no, but in this case I want one, and that's what we're going for. So for nature, I recommend to open it up and hit clear all, and that's going to let you search for any nature that pops up when you have a synchronizer in the front of your party, as well as Q-Charm and a couple of other abilities. I also recommend to add the specific nature you're going for. You should be using a synchronizer, but sometimes you'll see a spread that pops up where you don't need one. So this will increase your odds of getting the Pokemon you're after just a little bit. Now for your IVs, I started out with Special Hidden Power Flawless, but changed some things around because I'm going for a specific Hidden Power Rock. If I was really caring a whole lot about this Pokemon, I would be going for 0 attack to minimize damage from confusion and foul play, but in this case I don't really care that much. I'm going to reset my game soon anyway, so it's whatever. Now, Hidden Power, I put to ignore because I already doctored the IVs to be what I want them to be, so it should be Hidden Power by default anyway. But you can select that. If you aren't messing with the IVs, I recommend to set the specific Hidden Power type you want and the greater or less than to 40, so it catches every single instance of the Hidden Power you're after. Because in Gen 6, once you migrate the Pokemon up, Hidden Power is the same strength for everybody. It's base 60, so no sense in making it harder on yourself than it has to be. So date ranges, if you're going for something as specific as this, a flawless Hidden Power spread with shininess, and it's going to take a long time. You usually have to search for like a year, 2 years, 5 years ranges, but in this case I got real lucky and found one just off a month. Part of the reason is I usually only use timer 0, 10F4, and 10F5. They're my most common. In this case, I decided to include 10F3 because it does pop up every now and again for me, and I wanted to find this thing easy. The V count, V frame, or other parameters you'll get in calibration. You don't need to change them. Held button combinations is how many, if any, buttons you hold down when you start the game up. The more you put, the higher the chance of finding the Pokemon you want is. You can go from 0 to 3. IV advancements leave at 0. PID advancements is going to be set up to 500 by default. That's how many chatters you have to do, or how many PID frames you need to advance to hit the spread that you're after. I could not do 500, I would go insane. 200 is more than enough, even that's more than I want to do. So I narrowed it down just a little bit to make it kind of easier. From then you would hit search. In this case the search is already done and I lucked out and got one result, so that's the spread we're going to use. Attack's a little higher than I would have liked. I really want 0 or 1, but 11 will have to suffice. So it'll also tell you how many PID advances you have to do. In this case 14. Awesome, that's easy, I can handle that. I would definitely recommend to download an application called Tap Counter or something to that effect, where you tap on the screen and it counts how many times you have, so you can count your chatters and not lose track and go insane. It'll tell you the date and time you need to set your DS to, the timer 0 value, and the held buttons you need to do. So we're going to get after it. So I'm going to turn on my DS, and my cat decided to lay on my iPad. What's up, Frankie? Alright. So we're going here to date and time. We got to be on July 31st, 2015. I've got that queued up and ready to go. Hit confirm. Time is going to be 6:18 6:18 military time, or GMT, whatever, and 15 seconds. So as soon as you hit confirm, that counter is going to start, and you're going to want to turn your DS off and on. 15 seconds, you got to be kind of quick. So because of delay, we're going to start at 14 seconds. That's right, Frank. And immediately hold down our held buttons. You'll notice in calibration that the delay is different based on your system. DS lights are usually 1 second, so you're going to want to start 1 second before your target time to compensate for that. So mash on A once that Game Freak logo pops up. That's when you're going to want to let go of your held buttons and start hitting A. You're going to want to not turn on the C gear because it messes up your PID frame. Open your menu as soon as the game loads up and get chat time. We're going to do 14. Alright, and if timer 0 wanted to be our friend and I did everything right, we'll have our Shiny Virizion right here. But it's not. Boo! So I actually planned on this, or hoped for it. It's really, really rare that you get it on the first try, especially if you're going for a timer 0 that you never really see, or one that you don't see too often, like in this case 10F3 is for me. So keep a Master Ball on hand. You're going to be soft resetting after you use it, so no need to freak out. Catch the Pokemon, and we're going to check a couple of things. We're going to check the nature in the IVs, and we're going to see what's going on with the RNG. Making sure that we're doing our 14 advancements that we need, making sure that we're hitting our target time, and held buttons, and most commonly, you do everything correct because it's not that hard, but your timer 0 value isn't the one that you're after. That's that random element that you can't control, and that luck factor. So we're going to open it up, check out the Virizion and see what we got. Come over to RNG, PPRNG rather. Hopefully my cat doesn't mess with it too much. Hit our result. That's the seed that we're after. Scroll past all the system and console information, or game and console information. Date and time, this is all the seed stuff that we found. This is where it gets important. So encounter details, we've got the Virizion and our lead ability, all that stuff. We're going to click on adjacent seeds and frames. And this is where we inspect. So we've got Virizion. This one happened to be a modest nature. When you don't get what you're after, it's generally more helpful if you're hitting a nature that isn't what you're after. You'll see why in a minute. Characteristics says likes to thrash about. Alright, and IVs, they've got a calculator built in, which is awesome. So we've got a level 45 Virizion with the following stats. 139 HP, 87 attack, 73 defense, 105 special attack, 131 special defense, and 112 speed. And we hit calculate. Now we're going to hit our back arrow at the top. It's going to dump the IVs in for us. This is just collecting information on the Pokemon to give us an idea of what the RNG is doing. So here we have our ranges. Second, leave it to plus and minus 1, because you're going to be on time most of the time, or within a second if you're a little bit off. Timer 0, plus or minus 8 is a pretty wide range, but you can leave it there. I'm going to narrow it down to plus or minus 4, because that's kind of how my particular DS behaves with this game. IV advancements, just leave it, even though there shouldn't be any. PID advancements, we're just going to leave since we're only doing 14. But if you're after a Pokemon with a lot of non-playable moving characters around, the PID is going to randomly advance based on how they move, and you can't control it. So it's really good to be checking a wider PID range if you're, say, after one where you need to be on the 200th frame and you've got NPCs, just to see, kind of predict the NPCs and subtract them from what you're going for and hopefully get the Pokemon you want. Now in this case, it looks like we hit our date and time, no problem. The IVs match what was showing earlier. We're going to go to PID 14 because that's how many chat dots I was doing, and here we go. So if you notice as we're scrolling through the menu, most of these are going to say synchronize. If you get a nature that's not what you're after, that means that you hit a frame that didn't have synchronize as the nature. It had whatever the nature was going to be, in this case modest. So that's really cool because that tells us that we definitely hit frame 14 because it's the only modest one in sight. If it was timid, it could have really been any of these. So in the case of the NPCs, that's really helpful. But you'll see 10F2 instead of 10F3. Timer 0 just trolled us. So it is what it is. So at this point, we know we're doing the right thing, and we just repeat the process until we get lucky and hit the timer 0 value that we're after. Hopefully I get it on the second or third try. That would be pretty cool. I don't want to have this video go on for 45 minutes while I'm trying to catch one Pokemon. But sometimes that can be the case. Alright. Game Freak logo is up. We let go of our held buttons. We mash A. No to the C gear. And 14 chat dots. Alright. Did timer 0 want to be our friend this time? Nope. So you can keep catching them, keep checking, just to make sure you're doing the right thing. In this case, I know we are. So for time purposes, I'm just going to keep plugging along and trying again until we get it. I've probably RNG'd about like 25-30 Pokemon by this time, by this point, and I've only gotten it on the first try once or twice. Alrighty. This is attempt number 3. Not easy to do one-handed, by the way. Nothing. Yeah, I would say on average it takes like 5 to 10 tries to get it. Of my 20, I think I did 21 tests actually. And timer 0 values 4 and 5 popped up. I was a little late on that one. Timer 0 values 10F4 and 10F5 popped up about 6 times each. 10F3 came up like 3 times or so. So not a real common one for me. So we're looking at about a 1 in 10, 1 in 9 odds of getting the Pokemon we want here. Which still beats the hell out of soft resetting in Gen 6. And there she is, boom. Now, I don't know if I said this before or not, but I think it's easier to RNG shiny Pokemon than it is to RNG regular Pokemon. Because shiny Pokemon, you know when you got it because it's shiny. Regular Pokemon, you have to catch every single one and check the IVs of every single one and hope it's what you were after. Now, I still definitely recommend to check the IVs of the shiny that you catch before you save the game. But you're pretty much good 9 out of 10 times, if not more than that. Now, I want to catch this thing in the nest ball. It's probably going to take a really long time. But, we'll throw a couple. If I don't catch it in like 3, I'll throw on Master Ball, check the IVs just for the purpose of the video. Show you guys that it's legit. And then I'll come back and do it again later and catch it in the ball that I want. Yeah, right. What? Oh man, what are the odds of that? That's hilarious. Alright, so there she is, Shiny Virizion, hopefully with Hidden Power Rock. So again, the spread that we were going for had perfect HP and perfect special attack. And then 11 in attack and 30 in everything else. So we'll fly on down to good old Nimbasa City. I think this is the city with like the coolest music ever. Get the IVs checked out. As long as HP and special attack are perfect and its outstanding potential, we are golden. I guess you probably should punch him into a calculator, but I'm a little more trustworthy, I guess, than that. And boom. There we go. Outstanding. HP, special attack. Bam, there we go. I'm going to save the game right now. And there you go. That is how you RNG abuse stationary Pokemon in Black 2 and White 2 with PPRNG. Thanks for watching and happy hunting. Take care.